Despite being tied up against the 2021 salary cap, the Minnesota Vikings have been making moves in free agency. Patrick friggin' Peterson, Dalvin Tomlinson, something named Nick Vigil, coming on in, solidifying that Vikings defense. But yeah. What about the offensive line? Spiel Mendez again. He ignores the offensive line. And yeah, Dinkin, Jump and Joe Thuney probably were a major underdog, even though the Vikings had interest. And no on Gabe Jackson, who got traded to the stupid Seahawks. And no on Kevin Zeitler, who got poached by the Ravens, and no on Rodney Hudson, who for somehow, some way just got traded to the Cardinals. Oh, magic. The Raiders are masters of cutting a player, like waiting a week, and there's a trade. Same thing with PJ Hall, Vikings legend PJ Hall last year. But keep Skull alive, keep hope alive. There's still a good number of free agent interior offensive linemen out there. So as of right now, 9:21 a.m. Central Time, here are our top 10. So let's dive on in. Number 1, Trey Turner. And I know, he had a bad PFF grade last year. That's why he's still out there, and that's why he's going to be cheap. So Trey Turner, let go by the Chargers, former 5-time Pro Bowler with the Carolina Panthers, is only going to be 28 this upcoming season. 6'3", 315, would be a rock star on this line, would be dirt cheap, would be interested in a 1-year rehab project, potentially hit free agency after a one solid season. Makes sense. Then you have 2 schemish fit guys that would make sense and fit what the Vikings want to do up front. Austin Blythe of the Rams, former Iowa Hawkeye, can play some guard as well as some center. A 70.3 PFF grade last year. Did allow 31 pressures and 5 sacks, so that's no bueno. But 3, Ethan Posich. I love Ethan Posich, man, and that's been very well established. A pride to LSU, can play all 5 offensive line spots. 6'6", 320, really got together in his 4th year in the pros at center for the Seahawks this year. Only allowed 20 pressures and 2 sacks. Also, so we included all interior offensive linemen because I think you do have options with Bradbury. Or, since center and guard is generally pretty fluid. Nick Martin, who was cut by the Texans, 28 years young, former Golden Domer, 6'4", 295, would be great in the outside zone scheme. I had a 74 PFF pass blocking grade in 2020, even though the Texans offensive line besides Tunsil was straight booty. Absolute trash. 23 pressures, 1 sack. Also in the center mold, so you got David Andrews of the Patriots. The Patriots churn out offensive linemen and then just let him go. It's crazy. But 29 years young, 6'3", 300, former Georgia Bulldog, put up a 67.7 PFF grade last year on a down season, 12 pressures, 2 sacks. Forrest Lamp, former second-round pick out of Western Kentucky. Chargers firmly established that I like him. Same thing with Dan Feeney, the former Indiana Hoosier. Matt Skura of the Ravens, a really interesting name. So they tendered him last year, then they let him go. 28 years young, 6'3", 313, 49.1 PFF grade last year. Was not great as the Ravens had some injuries and some shifting up front. But Matt Skura, last couple years before that, was a bad he would be a great addition, can play center or guard. Zach Fulton. So this would be a definite rehab project. Zach Fulton was a great guard for a number of years for the Chiefs as well as with the Texans, former Tennessee Volunteer, but last year was straight booty, man. Are you kidding me? 39 pressures, 11 sacks. Like, that is Dakota Dozier type territory. Like, he was the weak link on the Texans' very bad offensive line, so it's whatever. Nick Easton of the Saints, former Vikings legend, is still hanging out there as well. Plus, you do have Lane Taylor, a longtime Packers guard, spot starter, worked his way in there. Only played 1 game last year against the Vikings, then got hurt. So, wow. And yeah, the Vikings still certainly could run it back with Riley Reif, and there is no shortage of interior offensive line names out there. So the cupboard ain't bare. Like, even though the Vikings obviously missed out on the top tier guys, that's okay. They invested money elsewhere in Tomlinson and Patrick Peterson. And they do have currently about $1.4 million in cap space after bringing on Patrick Peterson, as well as making Rudy a post-June 1st designation. And then you look at the draft. So if the Vikings don't come away with at least one decent free agent, you could be forcing your hand early on. Like, the Vikings may have to be in on offensive line. Now, I didn't list Darrisaw or Rashawn Slater and interior offensive linemen because I would prefer them at tackle. So the Vikings brought them aboard at 14. Sorry, Ezra, you're going to remain guard. But straight up interior offensive lineman, I think AVT, even if they just straight up took him at 14, it would make a lot of sense. Even though, yes, you're leaving some value on the board, I think AVT is an absolute rock star. Again, I do not believe that he's a tackle. I think he's a guard's guard. Number 2, So if Wyatt Davis was fully healthy, he would be number one for me very easily. But he played all season with a knee injury, and then of course he had that unfortunate incident in the national title game. He might start the 2021 season on the PUP list, TBD. But he's number two for me. Landon Dickerson is a rock star. I absolutely love him. Whether it's center, guard, can also play some tackle. I was former teammates with Dalvin Cook at Florida State before transferring to Alabama. Leader, toughness up front. Love it. Creed Humphrey's a physical freak, man. Like, Creed Humphrey just had his pro day. Woo, woo. Come on. He's got size. Also has length at 6'5", 320. Trey Smith of Tennessee. If he checks the boxes medically with the lung clots, absolute just destroyer of worlds. A guy at 335, even though he's not as fleet of foot as Ezra Cleveland, then again, who is, but he can get after it. And then you got Ben Cleveland, just 350 he's announced. Same with Deontay Brown, David Moore, Josh Myers, Drake Jackson. So the cupboard ain't bare when it comes to interior offensive linemen in the draft. But I think the Vikings' best course of action is sign up a guard or a center that can play guard, whatever. Just bring them in and check at least one box, and then have them compete with Olise Maka-Udo, with Kyle Big Hinton. So the Vikings do have some talent on the roster, as well as 12 freaking draft picks. So you can go early on interior offensive lineman. If it's AVT, if it's Darisaw, then keep Ezra inside, whatever. But make sure you double dip. In the third, fourth round is going to be the honeypot for some of these other listed interior offensive linemen, like a Trey Smith, like a Josh Myers, like a Ben Cleveland, like a David Moore. So hit that as well. So just because the Vikings haven't done offensive line right away, they still have a lot of options, man. So just tranquilo. Like, it is a full encompassing offseason. Just because the Vikings haven't gotten offensive line done right away doesn't mean that they won't eventually get to it. So you're telling me if the Vikings come out of this with Ethan Posich, and then you take Landon Dickerson, either training back in the first round or up in the second round, I'm good with that. I'm absolutely good with that. You got Oli Udo, Kyle Hinton in there as well. Let's get it done. Let's get things going. But your thoughts as of right now, 9:27 a.m. Central Time. Free agent guards remaining on the board. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.